Hey, all you Warhammer players, and welcome to the Yup!
Yup.
Today we're jumping in, my buddy Joey and I, of course, we are jumping in to games that we've been playing, and then we're also going to be talking the layouts and tournaments of the upcoming tournament, the Storm of Silence, here in Spokane, Washington. But before we jump into all that, let's do some housekeeping. Joey, where can the people find you?
The people can find me over on the good old Instagrams. There, it's Beddingfield Painting.
Excellent. Thank you very much. That's right. Go ahead and check out his wonderful art. Otherwise, if you want to find me, there's a bunch of different places. Number one, you can find me over on TikTok at allday40k. You can also find me on the Best in Tabletop Network on YouTube, role playing as Gage Rexon, the Rogue Trader, in our Monday night live streams. Otherwise, you found us here at the Yop. Welcome. I hope you stay and stick around. But before we jump into main topics for the day, Joey, what have you been up to? Have you been playing games? Have you been painting? Tell me about your hobby, buddy.
Yeah, man. I think the first time that we've done this, I get to say, yes. I have been painting and I have been playing. I am actually painting at this exact moment.
Oh, he's painting right now. I considered doing that while we do this, but somebody's got to drive this ship. You know what I'm saying?
I understand.
What are you painting right now, buddy?
Right now, I'm working on finishing this Cold Star Commander that I had posted a couple of weeks ago. When I had just gotten the base layers put down, and I don't know, just kind of excited. I was talking to a couple of my teammates last night, and we were discussing Tau and auxiliary cadre, and it got me all excited for it again. So I started painting this guy. And that's what I'm doing now. Just trying to get this commander done.
Sweet. Can't wait to see the finished product, man. It did look really nice.
Thank you.
I have also been hobbying up a storm. I recently finished up a captain, a Gravis captain, and he
you
turned
did
out
with quite the flowing cloak.
Yes. Oh, the blending. I'm actually starting to get the blending down pretty good.
Yeah.
And it turned out beautiful. I'm very happy with him. And then I fixed the lightning on his sword. The first go,
Okay.
like I had one side that looked really good, and then one side that looked like a Crayola version of it, and then a Crayola version, and I feel better about that.
Nice.
And in the last couple days here, I have it on my desk right now. I have one of my most used models of the edition that I'm working on.
Hey.
Just the Combi Lieutenant. I have two of them. So I have one that's painted and, that's playable right now. But I wanted to get one like nicely painted. So
Yeah.
I'm working on that guy right now. So I'll have a really, really pretty one for Storm when it rolls on by. So
Hell yeah.
luckily with painting my Marines and all that, it's so fast. It's just like a very methodical. I don't really think. I just do. So it's lovely.
Which is always nice.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Let's jump into what we've been doing. So let's pop into. I went a local RTT over at the Gamers Haven. This is their Storm Prep event. And it was a 19-player event, which was dope.
Wow.
We had a bunch of people pop in and a bunch of probably 4 or 5 of what you would call like our local shark type players there, which was really cool. And
Sure.
overall, it was a very fun tournament. So the first round went about as most first rounds should, where the players who are experienced kind of dominated all their games.
Yes.
So Chansey showed up, and Chansey had like the big kind of table flip of the round where he beat Wyatt like substantially. He got him 98-71. Now the context of that game is the man rolled 1,000,000 dev wounds with his Gene Stealers and just took down like 2 or 3 knights a turn, which was hilarious.
Yep. Sometimes that happens.
Yeah. Wyatt was running Chaos Knights, and it's not his primary army, but it is his prettiest army with a very nice display board. Isaac came in and beat up on a local Dark Angels player, of course, playing his Gene Stealer cult, the 20-man Neophyte Brick Gene
Mm.
Stealer cult. Uh, Drew showed up, which is always good to see Drew show up for an RTT. He's the man with the beautiful, beautiful Votan army.
Yes.
And he came in and crushed a Custodes army, uh, which didn't like get the paint score. He just they were all white primed, which is really fun. And then I played into World Eaters with Dark Angels, and I smashed my game, and I'll talk about that. And then Austin, one of our local AdMac players, beautiful army. He crushed his game, like dominated his game. Connor, who is a listener, played in that game, and from my understanding, Connor left his objectives and kind of just let Austin do whatever he want. So
Oh,
Connor,
okay.
maybe you should stay on those objectives, get some points, buddy. Uh,
Yeah.
Kirk unfortunately got the bye with his
Hey, free win, baby.
yeah with his Stampede Tyranids. And then we had a Death Watch player, Chris Wood, show up and beat up on Charles, who's playing a very like slow Dark Angels list. Lots of
Mm-hmm.
Deathwing Knights, lots of Inner Circle companions, but like that's it because that's all you can afford. Um, and then Robbie showed up, which Robbie often has to cancel because he leads a very busy life. But he won his game into Michael Cheney, playing Eldari, who he hasn't played since 7th edition. So he was
Michael or the Eldari?
Michael.
Okay.
So this was like Michael's first tournament since 7th edition, and he hit some pretty considerable clock problems all tournament.
Okay.
Um, now, my game, so I brought the Dark Angels list that I took to the real deal because I just wanted to know. I wanted to know if it was actually better than I thought it was. And
Sure.
overall, I feel like it is. Um, so that is Azrael, Samael, bikes with an ATV, two groups of Deathwing Knights, two Vindicators, one Reaper, two Scouts, and that was pretty much it. Uh, Something like that. And I had a blast with it, actually.
Okay.
My
Yeah.
first game was into World Eaters, and I just kind of was sitting back. He rolled advance and charge and +2 to move on turn one and got within like 6 inches with all of his big bricks, which were very few. Like
Oh.
he had like three really big bricks of units, and
Okay.
then failed two of his three charges.
No.
Yeah. So I proceeded to shoot him off the table in a few rounds.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Jude isn't the most competitive player. He's more into like the lore and all that. So it wasn't likely going to be a win on his part. But I was nervous there for a second when he rolled all those like crazy advances and was
Yeah, I
so
mean sometimes
so.
yeah, sometimes dice will just make you nervous and player doesn't really matter.
Yeah, absolutely. And they could have like he rolled like for the times he did get to fight, he rolled very hot.
Mm-hmm.
So I was happy that I was able to clock out that win pretty quick, um, and then had like an hour to spare. Went down to the restaurant downstairs, ate lunch with the boys, and Robbie played his game almost until the end of lunch, which was hysterical. Um,
Wow.
I'm surprised they let that happen. But that was also Michael, who had, again, not played 7th edition or since 7th edition. So overall, it was a pretty, pretty expected round one.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's get into round two. Round two was interesting. Connor, the poor listener who got dumpstered early on, he had the buy, so he actually got to walk around, ask questions, and watch stuff. So I hope you learned something, buddy. And then Chansey played into Austin, and Austin is like a really good Garage Hammer player who's only just started coming to tournaments these last few months. Um,
Okay.
and his cataphracts, what are the big double shoulder
The
cannon admech things?
the robots
Yeah,
are cataphrons.
cataphrons. Those things destroy Tyranids. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and so he just kind like he got him. The game was only a 56-65 in the end, but Austin did get the win there. Andrew and Johnson, Andrew and Isaac played a nail biter of a game. They played until the end of the round, where it was settled by 2 points when they were going over the guarding mission. Like, did we count all of our
Oh
guards on
yeah.
Drew? And Drew wins by 2 because of the not counted guards. He had pulled bring it down, or not bring it down, but Cull the Horde at the end of the game.
Mm.
So that was wild. um, and then it turns out, I think Isaac ends up digging and finds a ruling that the things that die in reserve don't count towards Cull because it's technically after the game is over that those units die. Apparently,
No,
there's
it's
a ruling about that,
oh interesting.
which is
I
horseshit.
would need to look that up. End of the battle, they count as destroyed. Right. One
Yeah,
second.
so
God dang.
he could have put units and kept them up in turn 5 at the end of the game, and because secondaries are only scored in your turn, the end of the game happens and the units are then destroyed. So I think that's terrible. I think that should be clarified because then if anyone like you, no one will ever pick fix then against that army. And when people aren't playing fixed against them, they have a very inherent advantage. Like it's kind of wild. It's kind of wild. Anyway, good game. Isaac was really stressing out at the end there. Isaac doesn't take a lot of losses in local RTTs, but he took a pretty rough one there. And then we had uh, Keegan, our Custodes player, take on one of the Dark Angels players, and he beat him pretty good. And then Wyatt takes on Michael, so the guy who hasn't played since 7th edition, and kind of just runs him over. It's Chaos Knights versus an Eldari player who's not really sure yet. So all the he hit the game over pretty quick, and I think Wyatt always plays on a clock, which the Haven now officially said that all their games are clocked, even the RTTs, which I love. So
Okay.
that actually helps people, in my opinion, overall. Then Charles, one of the Dark Angels players, played against Jude,
Mm-hmm.
and Charles manages to win that game pretty convincingly. And then Kirk played into the Deathwatch player. Kirk ran him over because he's got a whole army of damage 3 weapons. He's got triple X and a bunch of other stuff. It's all
Sure.
just big bugs. Now I played into Robbie, and Robbie has been somebody who I've beaten very consistently over the last like year and a half. Because Robbie's been in school and hasn't really had the chance to really
Okay.
focus on the game. And he was playing Blood Angels, a pretty okay lag list, ton of Blade Guard, like 2 groups of 6 Blade Guard. Um, he was running a little too much anti-tank for my list,
Yep.
and he played a little too reserved. So I was able to
Okay.
just kind of beat him back. My Deathwing Knights performed like gods all tournament, just soaking up damage as they do
Yep.
so well. Um, so I won that game 80-65 in the end. We played pretty quickly. We were done in like an hour and a half. Just kind of jamming
No.
through the turns. It was a lot of just kind of sitting staring at each other until someone finally had to go. Um, and I just took more of the board quickly. And then I had 2 Vindicators and he had 1. And my Vindicator one shot his Vindicator. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that was super unlucky. But he had kind of a conglomeration of tanks. He had all of them. He had like an Executioner, a Lancer, a Vindicator, which are all good, but generally you kind of want to lean into 2 of one of those for most Space
Right.
Marine. Um, just just to give yourself like more firepower in any one direction rather than a spread of random firepower. Unless you're John Lennon, of course, in which case none of that ever makes any sense. Anyway, I am 2-0 going into the 3rd round. And the pairings go up, and our top table is effectively I believe it is Drew and Austin who have the top table. And then the other undefeated table was Kirk and myself. Now, as far as the rest of the games go, we had Charles on his Dark Angels managed to pull out a
Sure.
uh, a 2-1 on his tournament, which is good for him. Chansey drops a game by 1 point to Robbie at the end of the tournament. Crazy. Um, the Deathwatch
Yeah.
player manages to beat the Custodes pretty badly. Uh, Wyatt and Isaac
Nice.
face off, and usually this would be like a very close game, and Wyatt decimated him. It was like 100 to 67. Poor Isaac had a
Yeah.
pretty rough tournament overall. Uh, and then Michael actually wins his last game against Dark Angels players. So really good for him having pulling out a win in a tournament and having not competed for years.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as far as the other two games go, we had Drew and Austin facing off, and Drew kind of runs Austin over, 100 to 71. Drew is a very polished tournament player. He is, he represents Vanguard Tactics. He's all around
Yeah.
great painter, all around great guy, and just kind of took
That's
this
all
guy
he
to town.
has. Yeah.
171
That's all he
overall.
has is big stuff.
And then Kirk and I played a game which my list, that Dark Angels list, not great against big stuff, right? Well, that entire list is T11, 13 wood. Right. It's nothing but bigs. We played.
My
I was
God.
resigned. I thought I had lost this game the moment we matched. I was like, I could deal with Drew. I cannot deal with all these bugs. We played a very close game. It was at the end of the day, he wins by
Yeah.
1 point, which is insane. We did the math. We looked into it a little bit deeper, and I had I made one move, I win at the end of the game by like 4 points.
Mm.
Um, because I just did a very stupid wind swift evasion rather than moving one unit. I set up another unit. We did some stuff out of phase, and then he was able to tie up a tank, so I couldn't burn at the end of the game. And had I done a couple of things, those two little things a little differently, the whole game changes. I win by 3 or 4 points. But it's very close regardless. And Kirk and I play almost nothing but very close games, so that was actually really cool to do that. So Drew wins the tournament overall.
Sure.
He had the overall
Yeah, I mean,
highest
you
score.
come back from lunch after
Um,
that round one
and
loss,
then
just mad.
what's funny
You just
is
start
Kirk comes in
stepping
second,
on
and
them.
Wyatt manages to come in third just because he kind of dick punched everyone else he ran into, and then I come in fourth. So uh, the just gonna start clubbing these seals. Uh,
Caught
so
him.
yeah, it was a super fun day. Um, Wyatt brought his knights to win best paint, but I think there was a counting error, and best paint was split between three of us, not including Wyatt, which was actually very funny. Sorry, Wyatt. And then he messages me later. He's like, "Turns out I won paint, but I'm not getting any credit for it." I just kind of laughed
Nice.
at him. Um, Rip Wyatt.
Yeah, so I played a
But yeah,
just a pickup game
that was the tournament over at the
with
Haven. It was
one
a
of the
super
guys
fun
out
day.
here by the name of
Everybody
Simon.
was all smiles, and it was a
Not
great
sure
time.
if you
So
have played him in the
that's been
tournament, but I'm
my
sure you
play
know who
this
he
past
is.
weekend. Tell
He
me
is
about the game
around.
that you
He's
played,
the
sir.
Space Wolves Blood Angels player. Yeah, I don't think so. He's a really good dude. Super fun to play with. Really nice guy. I think he's kind of new-ish. Like I don't think he definitely hasn't hit
I
like
don't
2
think
years
Simon
of
and I
play.
have played.
So he's like, new within
Okay.
a year or so. But he's got his head on straight. He makes decent tactical decisions. There are still some like list building
Okay.
quirks of new players that he's holding on to. That's okay. That comes with time. He brought his Votan. Sometimes, like at the real deal RTT, he was playing Blood Angels. He was playing the Death Company detachment, which is very cool.
Brings the cool stuff instead of
And
the good stuff.
I don't think it's bad, but it is absolutely not the best detachment in that book. And so it's just little things like that. But he did pretty well. He went, I think, pretty sure he went 2-1.
Gotcha.
But either way,
Mhm.
it is good. And we didn't talk about it. It was
Yep.
just a, hey, does anybody want to play a game? I ended up being free. I was like, hey man, I'll be there. Let's play a game. I brought my storm list. I knew, he's either going to bring Space Wolves, Blood Angels, or Votan, because that's what he has. I was like, I'm comfortable playing into any of those, and any of those are things that I'm, not going to be surprised if I see at the event. And he said, what do you want to play against? I said, whatever you want to bring.
Mm-hmm.
So he brought Votan, index detachment as it should be. It was 20 warriors, right. 3 Sagittar, 1 land fortress, 9 bikes, a big blob of 10 Terminators, a couple of the big shooty anti-vehicle dudes, which was just unfortunate because they're phenomenal in every matchup except for this one. Yeah, Thunder Buddies. You know how good those things are. Those dudes are fantastic, except for the fact that they're strength 5 and Bellacor's T11. So, unfortunate on that front.
That's so sad. Thunder Buddies is what we call them.
Correct.
They're so good.
Yeah. So we played. Let me bring it up here.
And they're anti-vehicle, not monster, right?
Scorched Earth. It's mission. So we played mission D. So, let me edit it so I can look at it again. D is Scorched Earth, Swift Action, and Tipping Point. Bringing them Battle Line, which is pretty cool. We both go tactical. He goes first. So we roll for attacker defender. I get the choice. So I choose to deploy
bring
first.
Them Battle Line, boy.
He doesn't have the kill team, so he has no infiltrate, and I know he has scout. Mm-hmm. So I just line my blues outside of his deployment zone to turn his scout off. He gets to scout a little bit because I didn't just throw them forward because I know, well, he'll just oath them and get a billion CP. Which is like mostly okay. Nice. So he ended up being able to scout like 3 or 4 inches, not enough to matter. We rolled to go first. He gets the first turn, so naturally Be'lakor says, hey, don't shoot me. Yep. 18-inch get wrecked. He, in turn, draws Cleanse and Secure No Man's Land and says, okay, fine, I don't care. Said, well,
right.
I guess that's fair.
Get wrecked.
So he scores 9 points turn 1. Amazing. He pregame oathed one of the blue squads. He obviously kills it. Not too terribly difficult for them.
Yep.
He did have to put more than 1 unit into it, but still, they'll die. So he scores his 9. We go into my turn. I draw Containment and Storm Hostile. So I'll just go ahead and score 10 points real quick and move on from there. So we played a very good game. He did very, very well in primary because, I mean, it's Scorched Earth. So if you don't burn an objective, you can't max primary. But he ended up scoring 35. He scored 10, 10, 10, 5. So he scored very well. On his turn 2 secondaries, unfortunately, were Assassinate and No Prisoners, and he put Be'lakor on 7, and he put the Lord of Change on 4, which was an amazing effort and just unfortunate reality of 4-up saves that neither one of them died. So he ditched Assassinate. He kept No Prisoners.
Okay.
And we moved on. Turn 3, he scores No Prisoners, and then he gets Storm Hostile. Turn 5, he gets Defend and Engage, but he only has 3 units left. So engages just 2 points.
Mhm.
And then on turn 5, he has nothing left, so he doesn't score anything. I end up winning that game 90-68. Um,
Okay.
still pretty good. A pretty good pretty good attempt on his part. He rapid ingress the
Gotcha.
Terminators like off, kind of out of position because it was
Not
just
bad.
they were in like the top
Okay.
left corner of the map, like north of my deployment zone. Um, and all of my monsters were in the middle and in the southeast, and so they just didn't get to look at the monsters.
Yeah.
Um, but they still scored him
Yeah.
points. They scored him storm, and they scored him no prisoners. And we talked about it afterwards. He moved on to
Okay.
the no man's land objective north of my deployment zone. He should have moved into my deployment zone. He I mean, it's a common mistake, and I am guilty of it myself, where you set up a unit with a plan, and that plan probably should change, but your head is so stuck on
Yeah.
that original plan that you just don't see it in the moment. Because like in reality, he could have just moved over, taken my home objective from the demonettes, and then the super tough demonettes, picked them up, and then he could have burned my home
Right.
objective. Probably still doesn't win the game, but he scores quite a few more points. So, but we talked about it
That
afterwards.
very tough
Still
unit.
great effort from him. And that was pretty much it. I didn't max primary. I
Yeah.
scored 10, 5, 10, 15. So
Right. Right.
to
Right.
his credit there, he kept me off of 10. And then I was not able to burn his deployment zone. I only could burn a no man's land. So it was a good game. We talked about some stuff. He learned a good bit, and we had a good time. So
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah. Sounds like it.
I mean, I do, but that's okay.
Hell yeah. As long as everybody enjoyed
Yeah,
themselves, that's all that Warhammer really truly is, right? Who wants to
I'm
win?
I'm excited because I
I
didn't think we
fucking
were gonna get the missions, and then we did. So I'm down to talk
cool, man. Well, glad you got in a game. Glad
and
you're
lay
doing some
out.
hobby. But without further ado, we should probably talk about this tournament. What do you think?
Well, I think he did it on. I have a suspicion it was done on purpose because it was
Yep.
released after lists were due.
We got missions and layout. We did
Uh
get it
huh.
all fairly late, so not a ton of people had like a huge opportunity to plan specifically for it. Uh,
Boy, boy, am I excited for this.
oh, the chart, yeah. So
We're playing some
we
Warhammer,
have
dog.
a
That's what we're
very
doing.
interesting first day layout, and that would be layout 8. It
Yes, you are.
is wild that that is our first layout. When I saw that, I was like, Bob, what are we doing?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, yeah. Because I'm bringing like a shooty gladius list,
Yeah.
and this map hates shooting. So,
Mm-hmm.
oh boy, I'm really gonna have to utilize
Man,
Gilliman
your
and
Dark Angels would
Calgar
have
to their best possible
drank
usage
somebody's milkshake on this
in order
layout,
to
dude.
make
It'd be
this work.
bad.
Which there's lots of places to tuck them and keep them and bounce. But
The whole first
after looking
day.
at the map, I'm like, man, I should have just played my Dark Angels. I probably would have been better off. Slapped.
Yep.
3 day or 3 games. The whole first day is layout 8. That said, the first round is mission A,
Sure.
which everybody is
Yep.
fine on. There's no overwhelming shooting
Yep.
advantage. There's
No, I mean
really not that
that is
big of a
very, very
melee
true.
advantage
And
either
it's
because it's not easy
raised
to cross the
banners.
board. The moment you step into no
So
man's land, you die. There's not a lot of places to hide
yeah,
from
sucks to
almost
suck,
any
nerd.
unit.
I'm excited to raise my 4 banners on turn 1 and then never worry about it again.
Yeah,
Yeah, if I raise yours If I raise
Well, I
yours,
don't
that
have any
game is
battle lines,
over.
so never raise a
Yep.
banner. Yeah, I mean that's all of them, right? That's all the ones you're generally going to get because your blues will die. Yeah,
Yep.
if you get blues in someone's home, it's just like, well, you were
I
tabled
think
on
it's going to
turn
be,
two.
it will make very interesting pairing metrics for the
So
rest of the event because
easy
it will be
round
an
one.
incredibly high
Sit
scoring
back,
round one.
try to just play defensively. Bottom of turn is like solid gold
Right.
because
It's not. Yeah. It's hard to stop it.
yeah, oh yeah, because everybody's gonna get 40, at least 40 primary. So it's not even hard to get it. Like it's crazy.
No, I'm a
Yeah,
fan.
yeah.
This
But
was the mission that I
layout 8
played
does force
into
an
Rigo at the
amount of fighting.
RTT when
So
I played into his
we'll see how it
knights,
goes.
and
Any other
it's a
thoughts on
terrain layout I'm
raised
very
banners,
comfortable
tipping
with,
point, layout 8?
and or I'm sorry, it was a different layout, but it was the same mission, and yeah, the same mission, but a different terrain layout. But I am very familiar
Good.
with and comfortable with this terrain layout. It allows me to just kind of sit on Bellacor's no touchy until I feel like changing it.
Yeah.
Where like most games, you do it turn one, maybe turn two, and then you're done. And this, I can just do it until I don't feel like it anymore. Because if you get within 18, then you are way too close to me.
Yeah.
So, right.
Yeah.
And I can just sit back and let you fall into the trap of thinking that you're safe enough to do it.
Okay, let's jump into mission 2.
So it is Scorched Earth, Inspired Leadership, and Crucible of Battle.
Hey, everybody's favorite mission, inspired leadership.
Honestly, I don't know what it does.
This is the one where if you are within 9 inches and can see your warlord, you get +1 to leadership checks.
Holy poop. I'm about to be leadership 4, dog.
It is amazing when you're going, against the Tyranid menace when they hit you with the thing in the command
Yeah.
phase.
Man,
So,
that's going to be silly.
talk about an easy primary scored mission.
Yeah.
You just get 10s
Well,
every turn.
yeah, you get 10s every turn. You can't, like we talked about, you can't max it unless you burn.
Right. So,
But
what?
that's okay.
Yeah. It'll be fine. Crucible, that's the swoopy edge, right?
Yeah, it's the middle of the long edge to the corner.
That's right. Just a drunk hammer and anvil.
That's it.
Yep. All right. Really nothing to talk about there. Let's
No.
jump into mission F, as in Frank, and I'll read it this time. Burden of Trust, Hidden Supplies, and Hammer and Anvil.
That appears to be right.
So, Burden of Trust is annoying
Sure.
because it's just so easy, again, to score so much primary. Because you get to guard your objective every time. It's really hard not to just, I don't know.
Do it.
It's an automatic 10 primary for any one player as long as you hold your home all game.
Yep.
Plus the 4 points you get for holding each objective in the center. So this will actually cause some fighting. So round 3 might be actually pretty aggressive. Just because you have to go
Potentially. Because it's really just because of where those two were in layout 8, where the two ruins, the big ruins, sit in no man's land.
Yeah.
I think they're kind of opposite of what you would expect them to be.
Right.
Or what you
They
would
just give you
ideally
this,
want them to be.
you get this super safe little pocket.
Right, but you get this safe pocket from the other side of the battlefield, but you get just 100% exposed from the middle of the board.
If someone's willing to walk into the middle of the board, because you can't draw a line
Correct.
through it. There's like one line you can draw, but you could also hide behind a wall and be on an objective there.
Yes, it will promote a little bit more fighting.
I sure hope so. Should be fun.
Yeah,
I guess
should
we'll
be
see.
fun. That's pretty much it. Like it's, I
Yeah.
guess it is hidden supplies, which is equally annoying.
Right. Yeah.
But as long as you're prepared for it, most of the time, unless you're just getting shit on, then you can pivot and move to where you need to move.
Absolutely. How do you feel? So, okay, day one, very melee friendly map. We are very much both shooting armies, right?
Yeah,
So, how do you feel about playing on Layout 8 largely?
it's going to be really interesting. I do, I have two melee, like legitimate melee threats. The screamers and the chariot are far more threatening than they look.
Hmm.
But if you just look at my list, then I have two obvious melee threats. It will set up some interesting like possibilities of how I set those units up. How I deploy them will determine how they end up getting played for the rest of the game. And so this is, which I generally do anyway, but this is really, I think it's gonna be really important for me, um, to like wait. Bellicor and the Soul Grinder are probably going to be the last things that I deploy
Right.
because they're going to be the most affected. But at like on the same front, they're the terrain layout and mission choices set up some pretty bonkers possibilities for them if I can pull it off. So
Yeah. Can the Soul Grinder walk into the middle?
he absolutely can.
He can fit between all those ruins?
Well, he has the night rule, and he can step over terrain that's 4 inches tall.
Well, I just mean like land in the center.
Oh no, he can definitely land in the center.
Okay.
Yeah, he fits on an objective.
I just have like this unnecessarily like negative perspective of that model and how big it is.
That's fair.
I remember in the first Tacoma of 10th edition, I played into a guy who had a World Eaters version, or no, not a World Eaters version, but the corn version of one,
Mm-hmm.
and it met with a tank, I think, and neither of them died for the game. I was like, oh, this is the
Sure.
best combat ever. Cool.
Yep.
um, so anyway, so as far as my army on layout 8, it's fascinating because I can hide Gilliman and the big nasty boy Calgar like behind walls on my home area in that nice little safe ruin uh, that sits right in the middle, and all the
Mm-hmm.
maps are like let you put units behind it very easily. Um, and then the expansions are just so easy to hold that I just kind of castle in one pocket of the map
Yep.
and wait and score lightly if possible. We'll see. I think my game is so dependent on card draw that it's like wild, sadly. But
Yeah, I think that there is going to be a lot, even for both of us. I think mine a little bit less so, being that I have like my melee threats are faster,
yeah,
um, and I have uppy downy on anything except
hmm,
Bellicor.
yeah,
But regardless, like the cards drawn are going to play a huge role in how these games shake out.
yeah.
So
I think knights might be screwed
they might be.
because it's some of the least friendly. It's one of the least friendly knight layouts for sure. Because
Yeah,
there's
because
no
you
way
can
that anybody can stand on one of those without just being shot at home. Like they can't
right.
hide any.
Well, yeah, and you can step on one of the middle pieces of terrain, but then you can't see through the other three.
Yeah, yeah. It's
So
it's it's going to be bad news bears for the knights players. They're going to have a pretty bad showing, I think. as long as people don't, unga bunga their way into the center, I suppose. Um, but yeah,
which I'm
okay.
sure will happen, but that's okay.
Yeah, of course. There's always going to be at least one Knight player in the top 10.
Yeah.
Be it Chaos or Imperial, but my money would be on Imperial. Um, okay. Now, let's talk about day two for after we've won 3 games each, obviously.
Huzzah.
We're jumping into Mission J, as in jalapeno, which
Ah,
includes
yes.
very phonetic, yes, uh, which is linchpin, banners, search and destroy.
Yeah, it is.
So linchpin is always very fun, especially on a map where it's so easy to hold your home. You never have to worry about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now the big shift, of course, is that we're on layout 3, which is wonky. The best way to put it.
I Yeah, yeah.
Now, our armies are going to love layout 3.
I am so excited for layout 3.
Yeah.
My god.
The shooting lanes on layout 3 are absurd, which makes it even worse for the Knight players, in all fairness.
Yeah.
Sad to say. Um, but yeah, layout 3 for 2 games after 3 games of layout 8 is like heaven and hell for anybody who brought range to the party.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and with Linchpin, it's just going to cause the melee players to just turtle up and never go anywhere unless they
Right.
have to.
And if they want to do that and not score points, then great.
I guess good for you. Don't have fun, jerk.
Yeah. Yeah. Just
Absolutely.
don't
So,
don't let me shoot you, I
yeah.
guess.
Another banners mission, sadly, having no battling.
Ha. Nerd.
Ugh. I rarely ever score more than 2 on raised banners, so there's that. And then yeah. So finally, layout the last mission of the day. Q as in quartet, which includes supply drop. So of course we're ending on Alpha and Omega. We did last year as well. Rapid escalation, which I forget which that one does. You'll have to help remind me there. And then sweeping engagement, which I believe is the swoopy
Mm-hmm.
Dawn of War, right?
Yes, it is Swoopy Dawn of War.
Okay, so Drunk Dawn of War, got it. With supply drop Alpha Omega, which encourages nothing but jamming onto those objectives, which is always fun.
Yep.
Um, and then and of course rapid escalation,
Rapid escalation.
which one is that? What I don't remember what that is.
I'm pretty sure I get them mixed up, but I'm pretty sure that rapid escalation is advance. It's battle line advance in action.
That's swift action.
Ooh, okay. Then it is extra battle line in strat reserve.
Ah, I'm so happy I have all this battle line with me.
I'm so glad I put mine in strat reserve. It's fine.
It's fine. The secondary mission matters, guys. It matters. Um, okay, so it's all balls to the wall. Get on the last point. Make sure you're there for 15 points in the end of the game, which means
Mm-hmm.
that if you go first, you have to play super aggressive and stage for that turn 4 push. And if you go second, you just need to play passive.
Yep.
Which is
And just
wild.
have a unit alive that is capable of touching the objective.
That's it. That's capable of removing everything that winds up on the objective.
Mm-hmm.
So that is very much a go second mission, in my opinion, because you can set up roadblocks and
Yeah.
really like dictate how the game is going because it's your opponent is pushing so much harder, so you could just react.
Yep.
Yeah, supply drop is great. I think it's a really fun mission. I'm not unhappy that we're playing it, so it'll be cool. It'll be a cool mission 5.
Yeah. I will say interesting takeaway here,
What's that?
and it's got to be this is I can only assume that it's Bob's 30K Iron Warrior heart coming out.
Uh huh.
That all the missions don't super like melee armies.
Nope, not one bit.
But but there's no purge.
Oh, look at that. And that's actually a good thing because Purge is a very unbalanced mission.
I'm perfectly happy with it. I'm excited to play a GT with no purge, but I'm also shocked.
Yeah, it is nuts. Instead of Purged, we get, I guess, Burden. Or Burden, I guess. I feel like Burden's in
Yeah,
a lot of tournaments.
it is, but I also think that Burden is one of the ones that I hear people complain about the most,
It's probably just because it's confusing.
which is fair. It is.
Yeah. Anyway. Okay. So, as far as the people going to this event, there are a few names of note. We have. Let me go ahead and kind of run through here.
Yeah.
We have Noah Badome coming, who is obviously a very good player, um, and Nick Frommey, who is
Ooh, I was curious.
also
I
on.
assumed he was coming.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, and he's very, very good. Big shout out to Nat Hill. She's on her way out too, which is super exciting.
Yeah, yeah.
And let's see here. No other names that are jumping out to me. Of course, we're going to have a huge population of the P&W warlords on their way out, including Jubilee. Do you know Jubilee?
I do not.
Jubilee's great. She's awesome.
The X-Men?
Yes. No,
Okay.
she's a TikTok creator as well. She plays out of the Tri-Cities.
Okay.
Super, super great opponent. I hope you get the opportunity to play.
Sweet.
As far as, I mean, pretty much all the locals are going to be here. We got Josh Payne, Mr. Fish, you and I, of course. Jason Bird is coming out from the West Coast. He's the man who runs Slaneshmas, one of my favorite people in the hobby. He's super funny. Yeah,
Cool.
those are most of the names just rattling off the dome here.
Nice.
Wyatt sadly signed up for 30K.
Horus Heresy, like a
Yeah,
nerd.
he signed up for Horus Heresy, which means that, of course, he is what's the best way to put it? Picking on old dudes for this event. So good for
Yeah.
you, Wyatt.
Yeah, way to go.
Yeah. Otherwise, we got, of course, a big population of the Unga Bunga League coming in, including Dale and Aaron. So awesome. Drew's going to be there, of course, representing Vanguard Tactics. And Chansey, of course, will be hanging out with us.
He will be.
And then big shout out to Dina. Dina's going to be there. I'm not sure what they're playing specifically, but probably something demon related. I hope they end up playing the same detachment that you are, because they were trying to push it on us like drugs at the teams event, which we were all kind of like, and we were wrong, to be fair.
Fair. Hey, if anything,
Yep.
they will be very excited that I'm playing it.
Oh yes.
'Cause
Oh,
I remember that was the big thing. Like I met you and Dina at the same event.
mhm.
And that was like, because nobody knew who I was. I was new to the area.
Yeah.
And Dina was just so excited because they were like, oh my God, there's another demon player here. There's somebody I can talk to.
Yeah, it was super cool. Oh, big name that I totally didn't realize. Obviously, Donald Plummer's going to be there. One of the best painters in the world. So
He's okay.
oh yeah, he's just okay. He's just got this Tau army that just wins wherever it goes.
Yeah.
And what's great about it is we got Donald Plummer, Andrew Johnson, and Nat Hill at this event. So if you want to try to compete for paint, good luck.
Too bad.
Because we have three of the best here at this event. So that's really cool. I'm very excited about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be a great event. We've had the attendance shot up in the last week. We were holding strong at the 70s, and now we're up into like the 90s.
Oh, good.
Like 98 people now, which is really cool.
Good. I remember I looked at it just the day that lists were due, and we had gone from 75 to a whopping 76. And I was like, oh well, I guess that's that.
Yeah. And now we're at 90 something or 98ish with 1 to 5 drops. So
awesome.
This is great. That means we'll have roughly 90 players, and a very interesting event of diverse armies. Hopefully, by next week, we'll be able to kind of pick through some of the more notable lists and see if there's anything kind of cool.
That would be cool. I don't know if are they. I haven't looked. I don't know if they're getting unlocked, but
I hope so.
I
Usually
hope
they
so.
get unlocked like a week beforehand,
Yeah,
um, but nothing notes unlock on the player pack. So I will assume we'll get to see them at least a few days beforehand. But
yeah,
all the hopes are that we'll get to at least kind of review them. Um, hopefully on the
yeah.
pod. That would be the best.
Absolutely. So, hey, before we start closing this thing out,
Sure, man. What's up?
I'm gonna bring up this segment that we have talked about, and then I'm gonna put you on the spot and ask you about it.
Okay. What is it?
So, we're gonna start doing this thing, or I'm gonna start doing this segment. I haven't figured out a name for it yet, so if people really want to help with that, that would be cool. But it's really just show or teach Jeremy that lore is cool and it matters.
Oh, of course. uh,
So
yeah.
because I've never seen somebody like put the time and effort that you put into competitive 40k and know nothing about the lore.
I know like a light dusting of lore, I think is the best way
Sure,
to put it. Like I listen to the funny podcasts, like Adeptus Ridiculous, which covers lore. Okay.
sure. But like most people learn like find out about the 40k universe, get super into the lore and then start playing the game.
Yeah, like yeah. As
So
soon
it's a
as I
very
started playing the game, I was just like, I just want to roll dice.
yeah, so it's a very interesting dynamic that you kind of skipped that step. Um, but what I'm going to put you on the spot for here, because while you know a light dusting, um, I know like most of what is in the bottle that is dusting.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
um, what would you like to hear about first? Is there an army or a time or what kind, or just like a topic, a thing that you might find more interesting?
Okay. If there is one character that I want to know more about, and I guess learn about the cool things that he's done, it would be Samael
Okay, we can.
because he's got the coolest Custodes jet bike,
He does.
and I would like to put him around and pretend I know things when people are like, "Oh, cool model. Do you remember this and that?" And I'm like, "No,
Yeah.
this is the orange Samael."
Mm-hmm. Okay, that'll be cool. We can get into that because the Dark Angels also just in general have some really interesting stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
there's a
so we can
oh,
do that because if I'm not mistaken, in the lore, his jet bike is actually a Custodes jet bike.
I would assume so. It looks just like one with
So
like a train shovel on
yeah.
it.
So
Cool. So next week, Joey is going to attempt to educate me on the lore and convince me that it's worth being interested in.
yeah,
Maybe eventually one day.
one of these days, it's worth your time.
Excellent. Okay. Is there anything else you want to bring up that before we sign off for the week?
No, I don't think so. I think that's the deal. We're just out here battening down the hatches, getting ready for this storm. So
Excellent. Well, next week we'll go in detail, hopefully, into some lists. We'll talk about a little bit about lore, hobby in general, and otherwise. Thank you all so much for coming here. I'm Jeremy, all day 40K Nakano. With me, as always, is.
I'm Joey, Beddingfield Painting.
And I just want to thank each and every one of you for hanging out to the end. Let us know if you want to learn about anything else or want to hear about anything else that we're doing.
Yeah,
Otherwise, share us, subscribe, do all those good things. We appreciate you. And we'll see you the next time.
see you around.